Hello, shalom, this is Roy Blight, and we're coming to you again talking about MessiAntics, and we're talking about some things that the Lord has shown us and places the Lord's taken us to. This is about what's going on in our world, and today I want to start off with a proverb. It says in Proverbs 13, "The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to turn one away from the snares of death." You know, as we look at our world today, this word is very important because the law or the instruction of the wise is a fountain of life. It's speaking to, are you wise or not? The word law, Torah, in Hebrew actually means instructions. The instructions of the wise is a fountain of life. If you're a wise person, you're going to take God's instructions and you're going to learn from them. And it says to turn one away from the snares of death. Out there in this world, there are traps laid for you, there's snares laid for you, and this can happen to you as an individual, this can happen to you as a congregation, this can happen to you as family, and this can happen to you as a nation. And our nation right now is in what I would say is in a really dangerous position. And I pray that the instructions of the wise, I pray for some wise people to finally step in and step up and finally make some decisions that are going to help this nation and keep this nation away from the snares of death. So I pray, my prayer today is that the law of the wise would become something of a fountain of life for those that are in charge. The other day, on April the 6th, today's the 13th, so a week ago, we saw something that was which commemorated something that happened 100 years ago. It was 100 years ago, on April the 6th, 1917, that the United States got into World War I officially. Now we know that America took the balance of power and turned it into the Allies' favor, and the Allies won World War I. But keep in mind of that date, that the powers of this world and those that are the wicked people that are in high places making these decisions to go to war don't worry about all the lives that are destroyed in order for them to control what's happening around us. And we need to understand that the blessed are the peacemakers. Still, we need to be peaceful people. We need to have our governments looking for peace and not for war. And that's the danger that we're heading into, I think, even right now. And there's a group of people, they're running, they're part of the secret societies that are out there, and you say, well, that's kind of a coincidental thing. Well, was it a coincidence that this happened 100 years to the day after the United States got into World War I, that the President of the United States, with help from all those around him, decided to bomb Syria and cross a line that put us on the brink of being in World War III? This is dangerous. And keep in mind that these people are these sinister people who run the show, are those that are out there trying to show other people how wonderful they are and how they have got everything under control and they have their numerology. In the secret societies like Freemasonry and the Rosicrucians and these people, the Skull and Bones people, these are the ones that have their secret religion and they have their secret numbers like 9 and 11. You know, the last day of World War I was on the 11th day, or 11th month of 1918, which was November the 11th, that they decided to end the war, and they decided to end it at the 11th hour. This is the same mentality of people who said, aha, see, we won the war, and it's all about us. Understand something today, that they may trigger wars, and they may put people at risk in wars, but these are the same people that they need to understand that what you reap, that's whatever you sow, you reap. You're going to get back what you put in. Yeshua said, if you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. And I pray for my country. And I pray for the politicians. And I pray for the leaders to use wisdom in exercising judgment on bombing sovereign nations that are no threat to our country at all. And their agenda of taking down all of these countries is going to be a snare. And it is a snare because the hatred and all the plotting against us, you can see it and it's happening all the time, even now. It says in the next verse in Proverbs 13, verse 15, good understanding finds favor, but the way of the unfaithful is hard. You know, who is God? If you serve God, you're going to find that his way is right, his way is true, his way leads to paths of peace. Good understanding finds favor. And if you want to have the favor of the Lord, you're going to do things his way. And starting wars, starting problems, doing false flag operations and so forth, these are things that are only going to destroy our nation. Understand, what I'm saying to you today. One of the key stratagems that is used by the New World Order crowd that who want to gain control of the whole world, including the United States, which means they want to bring down the government of the United States, is they have a saying called Ordo ab Chaos. This is ancient. This goes back, and it's talking about false flags. And what it means is, out of order, they're going to find chaos. In other words, they're going to create the chaos, and they're going to bring in their order and their new laws and their ways of protection. And we have seen so many of these false flags in the last few years, it makes your head spin. And this is happening at all times, and it's happening now. And I don't know what's going on in Syria right now, but I'm warning those that are sticking their toes into places they shouldn't, that it's a dangerous thing, and it puts our country at risk, and it's very much time that the people wake up to these things, because everything that we live for is at risk. And war is not a pretty thing, and usually the United States especially, we're used to winning them. But listen, have you ever seen a time when our country was more divided than it is now? Have you ever seen a time when the United States was more divided? Going back to the Civil War, you've not seen a country as divided as it is now. And even the devil knows that a kingdom that is divided cannot stand. So I would just prayerfully plead for everyone to pray for this nation, because this danger is very real, and this danger is before our country even right now. And we need to be at the vanguard of the prayer warriors. We need to be praying for our nation, and we need to pray that God would put righteous people into the power into our nation, and get those hooligans out that think they know everything, that serve a false God, and they are doing nothing but leading everything into a snare, into a trap, and into the judgment hand of God. I just want to share that with you today. God bless you. Have a